Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow Room. Working backwards. In the letter R, we just finished Rameau. And after Rameau comes a couple of film classics by David Raksin, the great film composer. Here we go, The Bad and the Beautiful, with also Collector's Supplement, Inspector's Introduction. Oh, okay, more stuff than you usually get. So yes, The Bad and the Beautiful, lots of stuff here. Now, Raksin was let's say a film composer for connoisseurs. He was not one of the sort of Korngold, lush, post-Wagnerian type composers. He was a modern American jazz sort of kind of type composer. I mean, he did a lot of other work. I mean, he spent a lot of time working with Charlie Chaplin, for example, orchestrating, his self-composed. Chaplin wrote some of his own film scores. And Raksin, orchestrated them and did stuff like that. And he wrote a couple classics, some real classics. And I have them here, actually. So here is the complete Bad and the Beautiful soundtrack, conducted by Raksin himself. And what was the date of this sucker? Let's see. Well, this is Turner Entertainment. But the movie itself, will they tell me? Of course not. Why should they bother? Let me see here. Hang on. They've got a big note. 1952. There we go. That helps. It's a wonderful movie. Yeah. And the score is fabulous for this. It's one of those, well, like I said, jazzy, kind of seedy, delicious, threatening, sexually provocative things. It's great. And here is the David Raksin disc that's in the RCA Victor film music series that Charles Gerhardt conducted most of, except in this case, we have Raksin conducting the New Philharmonia. And he writes, I feel that my music and I and the New Philharmonia Orchestra are being flattered that the gorgeous opulence of the Dolby surround system enables me to hear the music as I had hoped it would one day be heard. I hope that other listeners will find the experience equally gratifying, and I commend it to them. So we're being commended, and that matters. You've got Laura. Laura is his famous tune, the theme from Laura, which was very controversial. Apparently, when the studio first heard it, they said, no one's going to remember that. It's not tuneful. It's something else. It was, it was in Raksin's own, contemporary style. And Raksin said, just wait. It will catch on. And it did. He was right. And Forever Amber and The Bad, the Beautiful. So there you go. Some beautiful stuff. This is from 1975. Lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. So after Raksin, we have a clump of Raff, Joachim Raff. Now, most of my Raff is upstairs. The reason this is down here, this stuff, is that for a very, very long time, Raff was a hard composer to source. I mean, there wasn't that much. And what there was kind of iffy, sort of second rate and, second rate orchestras. And because that's who Raff was writing for, frankly, quite often. He was hugely prolific and somewhat patchy. I mean, he wrote glorious things and more ordinary things. His dates were 1822 to 1882. He was best known for helping Liszt orchestrate his tone poems and other things at various points. But then he broke with Liszt. He was a cantankerous old coot and, had issues. He was Swiss, by the way. And, in those days, if you were writing symphonies and things for orchestras in Germany, you were dealing with very limited resources and you had to sort of write down a little bit. And the trick was to write great music that was playable and that audiences would want to hear and that was scored for limited forces, so you didn't make people crazy looking for unusual instruments like Berlioz wanted and things like that. I mean, it was really problematic if you had an English horn or a harp or something like that, as often as not. So Raff catered to that market, and he did it very well, let's face it. And he wrote some wonderful, wonderful works. So let's talk about these first. Symphony number 1, To the Fatherland, which, although he was Swiss, was Germany because that's where his market was. And this is a 5-movement symphony, actually. And it's really quite a powerful and beautiful piece. It was guaranteed to stir people up. It's 70 minutes long. If you think that Bruckner and Mahler were like unusual in terms of the length of their works. Well, Mahler kind of was, and Bruckner became that way. But initially, 70-minute programmatic symphony, no big deal. So here it is on Naxos. It was originally on Marco Polo with the Rhenish Philharmonic under Samuel Friedman. A great recording with a great orchestra? No. But we had very little choice at the time, and it gets the job done. It's okay. And then we've got Raff, the Dame Kobold Overture, and his Fifth Symphony, which is his really famous one, Leonora. The Fifth Symphony, which is wonderful. This is on dynamic with the Orchestra della Svizzera Italiana under Nicholas Carthy. Again, a great performance with a great orchestra? No. It's okay. It's on dynamic. They're better. Maybe Yarvi did it, thank God, and sort of, wiped the floor with a lot of the competition at the time. Here's another, number 5, Leonora. Now, Leonora, you know the story of Leonora, right? That's the one where it's the same thing as Dvorak's The Spectre's Bride or all that, where she has a boyfriend, Leonora has a boyfriend who's a soldier, and he gets killed in battle, but she doesn't know that. She's waiting for him, and depending on how the story goes, maybe she prays and blasphemes, or maybe she doesn't. But one way or another, he comes back and scoops her up and rides away with her on his horse, and he's dead. And he's taking her to the cemetery to be one with him in death. And either he gets her or he doesn't, depending on how the story ends. So here we have Leonora and a bunch of pieces that were transcribed for orchestra with a Yuko Nishino violin. Anyway, this is with the Philharmonia Orchestra under Jan Danny Butt. And it's a good performance. When it came out, it was really one of the better ones. The problem with Raff is that his music tends to be repetitious. He writes in more or less strict forms, sonata form and whatnot, with repeats, and it can sound kind of stiff and predictable. So, Leonora requires a little bit of, flexibility to get it going. And, that performance isn't bad. We've got Symphonies 4 and 3. Number 3 is particularly lovely. It's In the Forest, Im Walde. Oh, by the way, Raff was a vibrato guy. He notated episodes or moments where he wanted extreme vibrato in his orchestral parts, which is very interesting. Anyway, this is the Milton Keynes City Orchestra under Hilary Davin Wetton on Hyperion. It's okay. Let's just put it that way. Milton Keynes. Oh, I never pronounced Milton right. Here's another Leonora. This is the old Marco Polo one with the Slovak State Philharmonic Orchestra of Košice under Urs Schneider with the Ein Festeburg ist unser Gott Overture, 19 minutes long, of Mighty Fortress. Oh, that's a bit much. It really is. But it's a good performance of Leonora, actually. It's rough and ready, but it's okay. And then we've got Symphonies 8 through 11. Symphonies 8 through 11 are our Four Seasons symphony. There's spring and autumn and summer and then winter. I think 11 was left partially incomplete. If I recall correctly. It was completed somehow by somebody. And here they are with the Philharmonia Ungarica under Werner Andreas Albert on CPO. This was a very valuable addition to the Raff discography. Now, of course, all the symphonies are available and, in a nice box, too, from Tudor. I think on the Tudor label, and they're wonderful. But this is good, too. And, there are more Four Seasons than just, Vivaldi's. So there you go. And this is Symphony number 7 with the same folks as previously, In the Alps. It's Opus 201, Symphony number 7. Holy cow, he was really moving, wasn't he? And it's In the Alps with the Jubel Overture with those people. And it's an Alpine symphony before Strauss did it. Isn't that cool? You can amaze your friends. And here's Symphony number 2, which has no program. It's just Symphony number 2. And it's a very attractive work with the overtures to Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth. Yes, he did a whole series of Shakespeare overtures, too. It's kind of amazing. They were recently published. I got the scores. I was very happy to have those. And this is Urs Schneider again, and the Slovak people on Marco Polo. Endless quantities of Raff. And with that, that's the Raff just in the Overflow Room. Since all of this, stuff came together and I started stuffing things down here, lots of other Raff has come out on labels really devoted to securing, I think, first-class performances of some of the music. Some of these are too. Don't get me wrong. But we're in much better shape than we were originally with Joachim Raff. So go have a raffle and enjoy yourself. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.